In 2010, a man walked into a luxury car dealership wearing an old t-shirt, faded jeans, and worn-out sneakers. The salesman barely looked at him. He assumed the guy couldn't afford anything in the showroom. A few minutes later, that same man paid cash for a car worth more than most Americans make in a year. The salesman had made a mistake that millions of people make every single day. They assume wealth looks wealthy. But what if I told you that some of the richest people in the world intentionally look poor? Not because they have to, because they want to. And once you understand why, it could completely change the way you think about money, success, and your own future. But before we continue, if you enjoy learning the hidden psychology of wealth, investing, and financial success, subscribe to the channel. Most people spend years chasing money without understanding how it actually works. This channel is designed to change that. Now let's get back to the story. Most people believe that becoming rich means looking rich. The expensive watch, the luxury car, the designer clothes, the giant house, the social media photos. We are taught that wealth should be visible, that success should be displayed, that if you've made it, the world should know. But history tells a very different story. One of the most successful investors in human history still lives in a house he bought decades ago. He could own hundreds of mansions. He doesn't. Many billionaires wear simple clothes, drive ordinary vehicles, and avoid showing off their wealth. At first, this seems strange. If you have the money, why not enjoy it? The answer reveals one of the most important principles of wealth building. Rich people understand the difference between being rich and looking rich, and those two things are often complete opposites. Imagine two neighbors. One drives a brand new luxury SUV. The other drives a 10-year-old car. One wears expensive designer brands, the other wears simple clothes. Most people would assume the first neighbor is wealthier. But studies on wealth repeatedly show something surprising. The people who look rich are often still trying to become rich. The people who are actually rich often don't feel the need to prove it. Think about it. If someone spends every dollar trying to look successful, where does that money go? It's gone. The expensive car loses value. The designer clothes go out of style. The flashy purchases create temporary attention but permanent expenses. Wealth isn't what you spend. Wealth is what you keep. This idea is difficult because modern society constantly encourages consumption. Every day we are bombarded with advertisements. Buy this, upgrade that, you deserve this, treat yourself. The message is always the same: spend more, look more successful, appear wealthier. But nobody becomes financially independent by constantly converting investments into liabilities. The wealthy understand something most people never learn. Every dollar has a job. A dollar spent today is a dollar that can never invest, grow, compound, or create future opportunities. And this brings us to one of the most powerful concepts in finance: opportunity cost. Every financial decision has a hidden cost. Let's say someone buys a $70,000 luxury vehicle. Most people see the price tag. What they don't see is what that money could have become. Invested over time, that same money could potentially grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe more. The true cost isn't just what you paid, it's what you gave up. That's not the lesson. The lesson is intentionality. Many people buy things because they want others to think they are successful. The wealthy buy things because they personally value them. There's a huge difference. One decision is driven by external validation. The other is driven by internal confidence. And confidence is one of the most underrated financial advantages in the world. People who need constant validation often make expensive decisions. People who are secure in themselves don't need strangers to approve of their lifestyle. That's why many wealthy individuals seem surprisingly ordinary. They aren't trying to win a competition that exists only in other people's minds. They have already won the game they care about: freedom. Because true wealth isn't a sports car. True wealth is choice. The ability to wake up and decide how to spend your day. The ability to spend time with your family. The ability to leave a job you hate. The ability to take risks. The ability to sleep without financial stress. Those things don't show up in Instagram photos, but they are infinitely more valuable than most status symbols. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Many people spend money they don't have to impress people they don't even like. Think about that. A larger house to impress neighbors. A more expensive car to impress coworkers. Designer brands to impress strangers. All financed by years of additional work, stress, and debt. In other words, they sacrifice real freedom for the appearance of success. And that's exactly why looking poor can be such a powerful strategy, because it protects you from lifestyle inflation. As income rises, most people's expenses rise with it. They make more, they spend more, they earn more, they spend even more. And despite increasing income, they never actually become wealthy. The cycle continues for decades. The wealthy often break this cycle. Instead of increasing spending at the same rate as income, they increase ownership. Ownership of stocks, ownership of businesses, ownership of assets. Because ownership creates future income. Consumption destroys it. This principle is so powerful that it has created countless millionaires who never looked rich. Teachers, engineers, small business owners, accountants, people who quietly invested for decades while others focused on appearances. The world notices flashy wealth, but real wealth often grows silently, like a tree. For years, nothing seems to happen. Then one day, everyone notices how large it has become. And by then, the foundation was already built. The biggest financial mistake many people make is confusing attention with success. Attention is loud. Success is often quiet. Attention wants people to notice you. Success wants freedom. Attention spends. Success invests. Attention seeks approval. Success seeks independence. And the older you get, the more important this distinction becomes. Because eventually, you realize something. The people you were trying to impress were never thinking about you nearly as much as you imagine. Everyone is focused on their own lives, their own problems, their own goals. The expensive signals that seem so important today are usually forgotten tomorrow. But investments continue working, assets continue growing, and financial freedom continues expanding. That's why looking poor is so important. Not because poverty is desirable, not because success should be hidden, but because focusing less on appearances allows you to focus more on reality. And reality is where wealth is built. The truth is simple. Anyone can look rich for a few years. With enough debt, almost anyone can create the appearance of wealth. But looking rich and being rich are completely different games. One is expensive, the other is profitable. One impresses strangers, the other creates freedom. And if you had to choose between looking wealthy and actually becoming wealthy, the smart choice is obvious. Because at the end of the day, the goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to build a life so financially secure that you never need to prove anything to anyone. That's real wealth, and that's a game worth playing.